When they finally returned to their dorm room, all four of them were feeling a little intoxicated. Out of the four, Jacob had the least to drink. After such a stressful event, Jacob should have stayed in the dorm to take care of Sam. But he dearly missed his grandma, who was currently living with Sophie's family. He also wanted to ask for Drakon's advice on the matter. So, Jacob gathered everything he needed and took the bus to Sophie's home. When he arrived at Sophie's, it was already 8 o'clock in the evening. Helen had just finished cleaning up after dinner and had joined Jacob's grandmother to watch TV. As Jacob entered the house, he was surprised to see the healthy glow on his grandma's face. She looked happy in Helen's company.
"Jacob, we were just talking about you. I thought you were not coming tonight."
Sitting cozily on the couch, Grandma was pleasantly surprised to see Jacob. "Something happened at college, so I couldn't leave until later." "How are you feeling, Grandma?" asked Jacob.
"Never been better. Even my blood pressure has returned to normal."
Grandma's answer was loud and clear. Indeed, Jacob thought. Grandma already looked healthier. In fact, she looked a few years younger than before. Standing next to Grandma, Helen smiled in silence.
"Helen took excellent care of me, after all. She's been making me chicken soup every day, so my body has recovered quickly and grown even stronger,"
Grandma added as she looked at Helen appreciatively. Jacob suspected that Helen had been putting some elixir in the chicken soup. The more he looked at her smile, the more his doubts were being confirmed. Though it could also be that Grandma was in a great mood and in good company, and so she was able to recover quickly. In any case, seeing that his grandma was in good health, Jacob felt relieved for the first time in days. He turned to Helen and asked,
"Where's Soph? She's working on her homework upstairs. Go join her. Your grandma and I were in the middle of a conversation."
Helen responded kindly.
"Okay."
With his backpack on his shoulders, Jacob started climbing up the stairs. On his way, he turned around to look at Helen and Grandma, who were in the living room. He found that they were getting along exceptionally well and seemed to have developed a relationship even closer than that of Grandma and her future daughter-in-law. My life keeps surprising me every day lately, he thought. Soon, he arrived at Sophie's bedroom door. Quietly pushing it open, he found Sophie sitting at her desk, buried in homework. Hearing the door open, Sophie turned her head, gave Jacob a quick look, and immediately went back to her textbook. "What happened? Did I miss something?" Jacob walked over and asked, while returning the few books he had borrowed from her the last time.
"My mom made a lot of your favorite dishes tonight, and yet you cancel with just a phone call. You made all her effort go to waste,"
Sophie replied grumpily. "Really?" Jacob felt surprised and touched. "Something happened in college today, so I couldn't make it," Jacob explained as he sat down next to her. He was sad now for letting Helen and Sophie down. Sophie looked at him for a moment and sighed. Her mom was not the only one who was disappointed when he didn't show up. "Your midterms start this Friday, right?" Jacob asked.
"Yeah,"
Sophie said softly, nodding her head. Sophie's hair was wet and she had a mild after-shower fragrance, slightly stimulating Jacob's olfactory sensations. She was wearing a pretty dress which made her look comfortable and adorable. Jacob stared at her for a couple minutes while she was stuck on the same question ever since he walked in. "Let's revise for the midterms then," Jacob suggested as he spread out the study material he had assembled earlier. After having read the textbooks Sophie lent him, Jacob now had a clear understanding of her learning progress and was able to pinpoint the areas that she should focus on. Therefore, he could now tutor Sophie in a way that would help her prepare better for the midterm exams. Sophie simply followed Jacob's instructions and began the revision immediately. At the end, it turned out to be the most productive tutoring session Jacob had had with her thus far. Jacob felt that Sophie was genuinely trying to learn. He could tell that she was taking the midterms seriously this time. 2 hours had already passed after he finished explaining and revising the important concepts of each subject with her. Jacob suddenly stopped teaching and turned to her as he said, "You should go to bed now. I'll go check on my grandma."
"Okay,"
Sophie nodded.
"Good night,"
she added. Quietly, he left the room and went to visit his grandmother.
"Are you done tutoring, Soph?"
While lying in bed, Grandma was still awake, as if she had been expecting Jacob. Yes, we didn't finish going through everything, but we will do that over the next few days. Jacob sat down on Grandma's bed as he answered.
Jacob, I feel that your relationship with Sophie's family is not as simple as you have told me. When I asked Helen about it, she kept telling me that you are only her tutor.
Grandma looked at Jacob intently and asked,
Is there something you are hiding from me?
No, it's nothing like that. Jacob shook his head. I just got really close to her family, that's all.
All right. Anyway, I am greatly indebted to Helen and her family for saving my life, so you must do your best to tutor Soph.
Grandma gently put her hand on Jacob's shoulder as she said. In the few days she had spent at Helen's home, Grandma felt that the family was treating her as if she was one of their own. The way they were so respectful and considerate towards her made her believe that they were indeed a family of great virtue. Sophie had been spending time with Grandma every day. In the morning, she would come to wake Grandma up for breakfast. And after she came home from school every day, she would check Grandma's blood pressure using their home kit. Grandma had grown very fond of Sophie and thought that she was attentive and understanding. As a result, Grandma had decided that even after she recovered and returned to her cottage, she would not cut ties with Helen and her family. Moreover, she was planning to introduce her son to them. No matter how busy life could get, they would try to maintain a good relationship with this family, and she hoped that the friendship between the two families would be long-lasting. Grandma thought, "It is a pity that Soph is a little too young for Jacob. Otherwise, the two of them could make a great couple." Jacob certainly had no idea about Grandma's intentions about him and Sophie. He focused on telling her about his college life and their on-and-off conversation, just the way he always does. Just like that, half an hour had gone by, and it was time for Jacob to leave for campus. Jacob was ready to return, but Grandma was not willing to part with her darling grandson yet.
Helen said that you could stay here tonight. You can take my room or the studio in the attic.
That's all right, Grandma. I should go back to campus. It wouldn't be very convenient if I stayed out too often. Jacob tried to comfort her. Truthfully, he was still worried about Sam and wanted to go back to check on him.
You're right. Staying out too often might affect your classes. You should be on your way then.
Grandma had hoped Jacob could stay for the night, but she also did not want him to do poorly in class. Yeah, you rest well too, Grandma. I will come to see you again tomorrow. Jacob got up from the bed and walked out after hugging his grandmother. From the corridor on the second floor, Jacob could see that the light was still on in the study next to the living room on the first floor. He assumed Drakon had not gone to bed yet. After he climbed down the stairs, as expected, he found the door of the study wide open, and Drakon, who had a big shirt draped over his shoulders, was reading some files. Jacob walked to the door and knocked. Drakon looked up. When he saw Jacob, he nodded faintly and said, "Come in." "Sir, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I would like your opinion on something." As he entered the study, Jacob looked up at the clock and saw that it was almost 11 o'clock. Jacob thought Sophie's father was always serious in both speech and manner. Nonetheless, Jacob could tell that Drakon did indeed have an enormous amount of work to take care of. He secretly hoped that Drakon would not get annoyed when asked to be involved in such a trivial college matter. "Yes?" Drakon put down the file in his hand and looked straight at Jacob. "Well, here's what happened. A classmate of mine fought with the school's basketball team today." Jacob told Drakon the entire incident, including its causes and potential effects. Sitting in his chair and facing Jacob, Drakon listened quietly and attentively, not giving away any thoughts he might have had. "Is that all? You participated in the fight as well?" After Jacob finished talking, Drakon finally started talking. Jacob nodded meekly. It was awkward for him to ask Drakon to get involved and help him out, as their relationship was very new and undefined. On top of that, he had already troubled them once with Grandma's illness, and Grandma was now staying in their home. Jacob was afraid that asking for his help again would make Drakon think that he wanted to take advantage of his status. Drakon blankly looked at Jacob and said, You don't have to come to me for matters like these. Jacob's heart sank. He felt that he had upset Drakon, just as he had anticipated. Go talk to Liam tomorrow, Drakon added. Jacob's face was flaming red due to embarrassment. As he was ready to bid his goodbye, Drakon spoke again. I will give the principal a call about this shortly. Your classmate's name is Sam, correct? A sliver of hope rose inside Jacob. Gazing at Drakon, who was looking aloof but was always willing to help, Jacob expressed his gratitude heartfully. Yes, thank you, sir. It's all right. According to your account of the incident, you guys were not at any serious fault. I also hope the university could handle these matters more impartially. At any rate, be careful in the future. Drakon looked up at the clock and continued. You are staying here tonight, right? No, I should get back to school now, Jacob responded. I still have a lot of work to process here. Is it okay for you to go back on your own? Drakon asked. I will be fine. Thanks again. Jacob turned around and walked out of the study, relieved.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.